I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
That's a beautiful song, isn't it? Wow. Well, Mother Teresa said, I know God will give me anything I can handle. I know God will not give me anything I can't handle. I just wish he didn't trust me so much. I love that. So today we're going to talk about Mother Teresa and look at what she taught us and what we can glean from her life and her teachings. You know, Mother Teresa's life was filled with numerous stories that exemplify how we can become instruments of peace in the world. One such story was an interaction that she had with a violent protest and how she responded to that protest with love and compassion. During a turbulent period in Calcutta, India, when violent protests were erupting, Mother Teresa found herself in the midst of one such demonstration. The angry mob was burning tires and hurling rocks and causing chaos and fear. And instead of retiring and becoming fearful, Mother Teresa fiercely approached the crowd, carrying her signature calmness and unwavering love. As she entered the midst of the chaos, Mother Teresa began to sing a hymn of peace and compassion. Her soft voice and her peaceful demeanor caused the people who had rocks to drop them and to be in the moment with her and to begin singing with her. And in moments, that entire crowd energy had changed to one of love and harmony and unity and peace. And her message of love and peace changed that crowd in the same way that she had an effect on everyone that she was around. This powerful story demonstrates how Mother Teresa, through her embodiment of love and compassion, changed the environment, changed what was going on, changed the energy. And so much of her life demonstrates that we too have that ability when we accept it in our consciousness to be a place of peace and love wherever we are. She was a great example of motherhood. She taught us many things, and this one is one of 5 things that I've gleaned from her teachings that we're going to talk about today. So Mother Teresa taught us that we can be instruments of peace in our world. Like Mother Teresa, we can choose how we respond to challenges. We can choose how we respond to conflicts. We can respond to how we're going to approach the energy and be with the energy of conflict or disagreement when it happens in our lives. Ever happen to you? Yeah? And there is a moment in every challenging situation where we get to choose. How am I going to be in this situation? Am I going to feed the fear? Am I going to feed the ego? Am I going to feed the anger? Or am I going to choose to be the presence of love? And we can make that decision that fast and make a difference in the world, in our relationships. I am a pencil in the hand of God, writing a love letter to the world. Today we celebrate Mother's Day, the love that our mothers had for us and the love we had for them. And it's possible that not all of us had a loving, embracing mother. Some of us lost our mothers early in our life. And we got to look for other people to embrace us, to love us, to be there with us, and to move past that hurt and to express love wherever we are. We know, and I believe that our mothers did the best job they could. Because I think that everybody really basically does the best job that we can in the moment, right? Well, we don't usually go into a situation and go, I'm just going to do this halfway today, right? We show up, and our mother showed up for us. And so we're going to look at, too, what does Mother Teresa teach us about embodying the motherly love that is the presence of Spirit that is manifesting in and through and as us? And I was inspired by this book that was written by Monsignor Leo Maasburg, titled Mother Teresa of Calcutta, A Personal Story. And I like this book so much. He tells, I think there's like 50 stories of Mother Teresa in this book. And he tells these stories, and as he tells them, we can really get a sense of who Mother Teresa was. Right? We all kind of have this image in our mind of this character that we've created in our mind, but he shows us examples of who she was, who we can really get a sense of her. And I also used some other stories to create this talk with as well. So Mother Teresa basically taught and lived and demonstrated that we can make a positive difference in the world, that we have that power to connect with the presence of God. Now, she probably saw God as a God out here. That may have been her belief, but I like to think that the God that we can connect with is in here and is everywhere in the universe. And we have access to this presence when we open our hearts and sometimes even affirm that the presence of God is in me, as me, right now. We can make a difference in the world. Monsignor Leo Maasburg writes, I love this because this really kind of paints a picture of her. He says, she was fascinatingly normal, however extraordinary in her life, and her effect on people and her ongoing influence. On one hand, she exceeded all norms. And on the other hand, she was completely natural, genuinely normal, quote unquote, which was precisely what made her so fascinating. During my time with her and at her side, I observed, studied, and admired her. From the very first moment, she reminded me of my grandmother. In common with my grandmother, she had not only hundreds of wrinkles and on her face, but also sort of some similar generational characteristics. She was strict and disciplined with herself, and also kind, considerate, and extremely patient with others. She also had thin, severe lips, like many older people, which she occasionally, depending on the situation, pushed forward into a pout. She would tilt her head a bit to one side and listen to visitors with a hint of skepticism, yet with great attentiveness. At other moments, again with pursed lips, she would move her head back and forth like a wine connoisseur, having his first taste of a new vintage. At such moments, those who knew her sensed that a razor-sharp decision was about to be made. And finally, with pursed lips The pursed lips would disappear, and often her face would go between her wrinkled hands, and her head would grow heavy. And Mother Teresa would support her head with her hands, clearly marked by arthritis. And forgetting her surroundings, would linger in conversation with her Lord. Here we've arrived at an important feature of Mother Teresa's personality. She was herself what she repeatedly demanded of others. Namely, she was contemplative in the world. All of her activities and all of her attention, which seemed to be directly focused outward, concealed another important part of her. The latter, much like an iceberg, remained hidden under the surface, or more precisely, was that she was constantly seeking to experience more God. And she was focused within. She was contemplative in every moment, as much as she was being outward and present for everyone that was close by. I am a pencil in the hand of God, writing a love letter to the world. So Mother Teresa taught us to be contemplative in the world. She taught us to go within, to connect with the presence of God however we see it, and to be in constant connection with that, so that everywhere she showed up, in every place, every relationship, she was in that place, and you knew that she was reflecting, connecting with the presence of God. I am listening and acting on the guidance from God. Say that with me. I am listening and acting on guidance from God. What? Isn't that inspiring? Can you imagine? And don't we aspire to be in that place? To be totally connected to whatever's happening in our lives, but at the same time coming from this place of connection with Spirit, so that we are acting out of love, that we're being present, that we are responding to the world with love, acting from that guidance of God. There's a great story that I like that Monsignor Maasburg tells. He says, on my first visit to Calcutta, I was still critical. I wanted to observe in detail the way that Mother Teresa's spirituality and piety affected her activities and those of her sisters. And so I sat down in the convent with a right angle so I could see her praying in the temple. And I would watch her to see how she was. How did she respond to people that came in? And after a while, I discovered that there was a photographer in the hallway. And it was obviously this photographer was walking back and forth outside the sanctuary, and it was obvious that he wanted to speak to Mother Teresa. And so I watched him. I was curious how she would react. And after a while, one of the sisters came up to the photographer and said, "Go on in. It's okay." So the photographer took off his shoes and he walked into the sanctuary. And it was obvious that he didn't know what to do, but he stood next to Mother Teresa, and then he knelt down. And she looked at him and smiled with love and was able to be totally present for him, even though he had interrupted her prayer. And they had a short conversation back and forth, and she held his hand and thanked him for being there. It was almost like, Maasburg says, almost like she recognized his gift of being present, even though he interrupted her prayer. And the photographer got out and left. And Maasburg says, what moved me so much about this short scene was that Mother Teresa gave not even the slightest indication of displeasure or annoyance. On the contrary, it was as though the photographer had brought her a present by disrupting her prayer. Wow. She responded to him with appreciation and love. Wouldn't that be great if we could do that, right? When we get interrupted, if we could just be present for what's happening. So Mother Teresa, the third thing she taught us was to be present for each other and to look at each other as if they're bringing us a gift. Wow. What a change in perspective. Can you imagine recognizing that every person that comes into your life is offering you a gift? Would that change the way you interacted with them? That we could open our hearts and go, wow, this is a gift. This is a gift. This situation, this opportunity is a gift to me. This is an amazing story. Nicaragua was ruled by a Marxist-inspired authoritarian regime under the Sandinista leader Daniel Ortega. And Mother Teresa wanted to meet with him because she wanted to get a group of her sisters, her nuns, to be there in his country, because she knew there was lots of poor people there, and she wanted to bring her nuns there to be with him in this country. So she arranged a meeting with him, and the meeting took place in a windowless room with you can picture it, a platform at one end, and on the platform was a long desk. And behind the desk sat 4 masked men with large machine guns. In the middle between the 4 men sat Daniel Ortega. He acknowledged his 3 visitors when they came in. It was Mother Teresa, a sister, and Monsignor. And then he stood up and he gave a fiery 30-minute speech about the legitimacy of his guerrilla war and the demonic character of his opponents. And then he finally ended, and he sat down and he was just trembling with rage. And there was kind of an embarrassed silence. Mother Teresa stood up and faced him. And she says, yes, yes, works of love are works of peace. Wow. Wow. She was offering Ortega a whole different perspective. I can imagine that this blew his mind, right? Because here he gave this fiery speech, and she's like, yes, yes, yes. Works of love are works of peace. And she planted a seed in that moment, in his mind, and in that place, to give him the opportunity to change his perspective. And Monsignor says that the tension mounted in the room. And the translator obviously did not want to relate this message to Ortega, which was spoken in English, and it was then translated in Spanish. Suddenly, and without waiting for the dictator's reaction, Mother Teresa stood up, went forward, and stepped close to the platform. Rummaging in her bag, she asked the dictator, "Do you have children?" "Yes," he says. "How many?" "7." So then Mother Teresa reaches into her bag and she brought out 7 miraculous medals. And one after another, she kissed them and held it high over his desk and offered it to him. And Ortega took them one by one, and having to reach out to take it from Mother Teresa's hand. And after he received all 7, she said, "Do you have a wife?" "Yes," he said. So she reached into her bag and grabbed another one and kissed it and reached out and gave it to him. And then she says, "And another medal," and she kissed it and she held it out and she said, "This one is for you." And she says, "You need it, but you must wear it around your neck like this." And Ortega, had these ropes and things around his neck. So she pantomimed to Ortega how to hang this medal around his neck. No, probably not a medal that he would ordinarily cherish, right? And she explained it to him in pantomime where he should hang this medal. And Monsignor says in that moment, the energy in the room changed. And then she said, "Do you have poor people?" Ortega said, "Yes. I will give you 5 of my sisters to take care of the poorest of the poor in the slums of Nicaragua." And she was told they would respond to her later. And she left. And the next day she heard that permission was granted for her to bring 5 of her sisters to Nicaragua. Wow. What did Mother Teresa teach us? She taught us to do little things with great love. To do little things with great love. I do little things with great love. Say that with me. I do little things with great love. And that's how we change the world, isn't it? To be present in the moment, to be aware of our circumstances, and in little ways offer love, to offer a smile, to offer a hand, to just be present for somebody, to look somebody in the eyes and tell them we love them with our eyes. A journalist said to Mother Teresa, "What you do is so wonderful." And Mother Teresa responded, "I'm only a little pencil in the hand of God. A God that is about to write a love letter to the world." Wow. Mother Teresa was saying that we can allow ourselves to be like those little pencils, right? I like to think of that rather than being pencils in the hand of God, we are pencils as the hand of God, right? That we get to be those pencils wherever we are, to bring love, to bring power, to bring wisdom, to bring truth, to bring joy, to be an active representation of that love. You have that ability to be that wherever you are, to choose that, to be the motherly power of love, to carry this love. She's calling right now. So what an amazing opportunity we have. I know that's why we're attracted to unity, why we're attracted to new thought, to Centers for Spiritual Living, and to Agape, is because we recognize that we have this ability, this desire, the presence of God within us, the presence of Spirit within us, desires to create more love in the world, because that is the essence of Spirit. That is the essence of God. To be that light, to be that power, to be that joy. So I invite you this week just to be aware of that, to think about your mother, to think about the way that your mother loved you, to think about the presence of God within you that is this motherly love at the basic root and essence of who you are. And to make a commitment to share that love wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And sometimes it takes a little bit of a twist, right? You have to sometimes grab yourself by the collar and say, I'm changing my perspective. I'm remembering who I am. I remember that my essence is love, that my essence is truth, that my essence is spirit. And just be that. And the funny thing about it, it's not so hard, right? Because the universe, love, will support us in being that truth. And all we have to do is call upon it and say that I'm doing it right now. Mother Teresa taught us to be a pencil in the hand of God. So think about this statement, that you are a pencil in the hand of God. You are the presence of God writing your experience, speaking your experience, being that love wherever you are. You are a perfect expression of spirit, of love, of God, whatever you want to call it. And let's say this one more time together. Breathing in. I want you to feel it. Just really be it. Vibrate it. Imagine that it embraces your entire body, your entire being, all that you are. Yes? You know it's true, right? You know this is who you are, right? One of you. You know this is who you are, right? You can affirm it. It's not going to hurt, I promise. Right? It is who you are. Embrace that. Be that. Wow, because that is the gift of spirit that is here for you all the time. God spirit never holds itself back. The only thing that keeps us from emulating, expressing it is what? Our fear, right? Somehow we are afraid to be that. Well, just get over it. Right? All right, let's say this together with energy and with light and with power and truth, and embody it and embrace it. Let's say it together. I am a pencil in the hand of God, writing a love letter to the world. I invite you to close your eyes. And to know that the presence of God loves you so much. The presence of God within you is embracing you with so much love, so much light, so much peace. Breathing in and breathing out. I invite you to take that journey into the area around your heart and to feel the love. To remember this spiritual motherly love that is the essence of all that you are. And to feel its embrace. open your mind and your heart to the power of love that is embracing you, empowering you, enfolding you. Breathing in and breathing out. And imagine if you could see with the eyes of your heart, that you look out into the world and see a world that opens to the love that you're here to share. Breathing in and breathing out. Knowing that you are a full and complete, beautiful expression of love. And let's take just a moment or two to rest in the silence and to accept this gift of love that's coming to you right now. Breathing in and breathing out. Remembering that you are one with all life. And as you begin to bring your awareness back to this moment, imagine that you carry a piece of everyone with you, recognizing your oneness wherever you are. Breathing in and breathing out. You are a pencil in the hand of God, writing a love letter to the world. And I invite you to open your eyes whenever you're ready. Wow, thank you very much. Well, I invite you at this time to prepare your love offerings and your tithes and your gifts to Unity on Maui. And to say we appreciate what you give. It helps create what we give. It's a work of creativity, I like to think, on all of our parts. And as you give, you participate in the work that we do here on Unity, at Unity on Maui, to promote that consciousness. And really, I kind of see what we do is about creating a world that works for everyone. Isn't that kind of the basis of what we want? And so thank you for your gifts. They flow through us and as us and give us the opportunity to maintain this amazing property. Oh, look how beautiful this place is. Have you noticed? I'll talk more about that in a moment. and we talked about what happened last week. But in the meantime, I invite you to hold your gifts. And for those of you watching out in Faceland, you can give to Unity on Maui as well by going to our webpage, www.unityonmaui.org, and make a safe donation there. So in the meantime, as we hold our gifts, let's affirm and pray together our affirmation of prosperity, which begins, through a grateful, giving heart, my mind and life overflow with the abundance of God's all-providing, infinite supply. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you, loving Spirit, for these gifts that have come to us in love. We hold them, we bless them, we give thanks for them, and know that they are moving in and through and as this ministry and out into the world. And we behold a world filled with love, light, with joy, and with peace. And so it is. Namaste. Thank you. All right, just got a few announcements today. These amazing flowers behind me are roses are offered by Michelle and Mike in honor of mothers and anyone who has ever had a mother. And if you did get here without a mother, I'm curious how that happened, and I'd love to hear about it. So thank you for being here and for sharing your beautiful flowers with us. And, you know, I'm assuming, based on prior experience, that you are offering these roses to the people that are here today, right? And any of you in Facebook who can get here in the next 10 minutes, you can have one also. Because I know you're sitting home on your couch in Wailuku and you're eating your bonbons and whatever else you do, and you'd like to have a rose. So come on down. So anyway, we'll have these flowers next to the door, or roses next to the door, and you can take one of your choice as you leave. And if you have a mother or someone close that you'd like to take one too. I'm sure there's enough to do that as well. Thank you, Michelle and Mike. Let's give them a hand. And if you'd like to bring flowers some Sunday, it'd be great to have you do that. There's a sign-up sheet on the table right there, and you can put down on the day that you'd like to bring flowers, who you'd like us to donate them to, and I will lovingly mention them up here on Sunday morning. And the best part is you can take them home with you and enjoy them the rest of the week. Except for you guys, you don't get to take them all home, but there might be one or two left, I bet, that you can take home. All right. Oh, so last Sunday, we had a major spring cleaning here, and these 12 people stayed, and we worked basically from noon until 2. I think I was here until 3:45, and we got the windows washed. We got the window seals cleaned. Oh my goodness, it was amazing. All of the trim around everywhere was cleaned. It was, we had so much, we have fun or what? We had a good time. We played music and we laughed and we danced and we sang and we cleaned. And thank you everyone who was here. Yeah, it was a good turnout. Yeah. We were very happy. And gosh, I just went home and cleaned our house and the neighbor's house. No, hey, wait a minute. You know, I try to always tell the truth from up here. But, you know, once in a while I kind of stretch it a little bit. And thank God for my partner, Emily, who doesn't let me get away with it. Oh, well, you got to try, right? Somebody might believe it. Maybe somebody out there is going, oh, he cleans houses too? Don't call me. He cooks? No. All right. Anyway, let's move on. So Mike Flenor, who helps arrange social activities for our ministry, has a bamboo waterfall hike planned for Saturday, March 20th. May. I'm still in March, or it feels like it's February today. Yeah, May 20th. Sorry about that. Be here at 3, and Mike is saying we'll return by 7 for this amazing hike. You can call him for more information. And next week, my talk is titled The Divine Matrix, Awakening the Power Within. And I kind of mentioned it today, but I'm going to really look at how we are connected with all life, how we're connected with every cell in our body, our beingness, our thoughts, our energy. And I'm going to look at the science that's now coming out to show that everything is connected. And we're going to talk about that next week. It'll be a fascinating opportunity, I know, and I just can't wait to get busy and write this talk. So at least I hope that's what it's going to be about. You never know. I come up with an idea, and then sometimes it changes. But I'm looking forward to this one. And if you enjoyed my talk today and you want to take part of it home with you, or you want to remember some of the things that Mother Teresa said, I created this summary, or I call it a walk your talk, and it's on the back table in yellow, and you can take it home and help you to remember what we talked about today. So I think that's about it. You got anything you want to share?
Well, I'm just thinking, we gave applauses for everyone who put on this service except for Reverend Blaine. What a great talk today. So let's...
Thank you. I paid her to say that. It's so great to have you back.
Thank you.
Did you miss her? Oh, my gosh.
Aw, thank you.
And she's telling me, the first thing I talk to her when she gets back, is she says, I'm going to leave again. She likes to prepare me, a month or a week in advance.
Well, I'm here now.
Okay, yeah. This is a good lesson in appreciating what we have right now, right? So, all right. So with that held in mind, I invite you to stand, and let's pray and affirm together our prayer for protection, and then we'll hold hands and form a circle and sing the peace song.
All right.
So for ourselves and for each other, let's pray the prayer of protection together. Together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Thank you all for being here today. God bless, and see you next week. Let's
Where I live, there are rain.